Our meeting started. We called to order the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for July 9, 2020. And if the administrator would call the roll.
He's muted.
Here.
Here.
You can't do that.
Well, that
There's
is.
Stephanie.
There's audio on.
Here.
Here.
Okay. You
Hey,
were.
just 1 minute. By the way, that phone number is my phone number because I'm on my phone, plus I'm watching from the video, so I'm on there 2 times.
Okie doke. You only get 1 vote though, Dave. Okay, let's take a look at the agenda. And do I hear a motion to accept the agenda as distributed?
So move.
Okay,
Can you
Payne?
second?
Have a second, Lynn Olson. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, no.
Aye.
Okay, and the agenda is approved as distributed. Let's go to the minutes of the June 11 meeting. We had one minor problem that Isaac and I have worked out with some vote calls. We got those corrected. And so they'll be sent to you again in the corrected form, but those were the only things I found. Any other additions, corrections from the commission? Hearing none, do we hear a motion then to approve the minutes of the June 11 meeting?
I so move.
Second. You're muted, Hank.
Yep, those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. And the minutes of the June 11 meeting are approved. We do not have any public hearings this evening. We do have 2 items of regular business, and we'll go to item F1. Let's, okay. Brian Hunmiller has submitted a plat of survey for Parcel J for review. Isaac, you want to walk us through this?
Can you share the screen on that, please? Can you share the screen, please, of that view?
I have a question when it comes to publication of items like this. Is there a publication rule on something like this? And I'm just curious because I'm 4 houses down. And I have no objections to it at all, but I just didn't know how we notify neighbors or how close you are to be notified.
Okay, so again, Isaac, can you show us the aerial overview of this, please?
But Isaac, my understanding from what I read was that staff is recommending that this be denied. Okay, does this interfere with the future road that's planned? You said there's an easement there. Can't hear you.
You guys are muted.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen this in the packet, but could you please share the screen to show us the aerial view of this?
If you give me permission, I can do it. I have it up on a separate browser.
That'd be great, Kate.
Well, I can't do it. I have to get permission. The host has to give me permission.
It's trying to do the same thing and it's disabled by the host.
While we're waiting, everybody take notice. I signed this final approval of final third edition way back in 2020 or 2000.
Isaac, do you have the green share screen button on yours? There we go. Somebody got it.
All right, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if you look at the properties to the Looking at the picture, I assume east, I don't know, which is,
North is up, Kathy.
what?
North is up.
Now there's, okay, so looking east, why would not all of those properties just say, yeah, I want to do the same thing? Okay, who is the owner of the property behind them?
McCumbers.
Okay.
So he already owns this property. He just wants to make it be a single plat.
Okay, yeah, okay, I understand that. Okay, and what about north of that piece that he's requesting? Is that not owned by him? He just has that little rectangle there.
And the future road is on the west side of that of the property that we're talking about. Okay. Yeah, okay.
About
So,
any-
I mean, this is a naive question, but why was this never identified in a similar zoning sense or whatever as their total property?
Were both of those parcels purchased at the same time?
So really, by default, they own it so they could do whatever they wish. Is there an impact aesthetically on the neighborhood?
Kathy, I can maybe speak to that. I'm 2 houses over from them. It's really not unusual. If you look at the Schneider's property, they've got a larger outbuilding farther up. We have nice large lots out here, so I can't imagine that it's going to be something that's a huge eyesore. Most of the neighborhood really has taken care of their properties, and the Hudemillers are certainly not I mean, they're very much in that. They've recently done quite a bit of external work to their property through the house and just the land, that I can't imagine the way that we're set up there that there would be an issue with anybody in our area.
Okay.
Actually, you'll see that almost every property has some type of a shed on it. Some are bigger, some are smaller. I think would they be restricted to certain sizes too? So it wouldn't necessarily be a large pole shed. It would fit appropriate to a residential lot.
To go back to why there are two different parcels, if you go to the assessor's website, they were bought at different times. So that small parcel was purchased from Matt Schneider, and the house parcel was purchased in 2011. So that's why you have two different parcels.
Okay, so this is probably a naive question, but does that mean that they could, Schneiders could just continue to sell off little pieces of their property without any other Okay, that's helpful, but that means that whenever Hunemiller's bought this, there were no such restrictions saying that further divisions of the property had to be addressed.
I think it's after the first one, then they have to go to a platting, I believe.
Okay, okay, that's helpful. Thank you, Dave.
Isn't that right, Isaac?
Okay, so to Dave's point, that means, so to Dave's point, that would mean that after this, they would have to submit a plat of survey, or is it likely, or whatever? What are you saying there, Isaac? So you use the term consistently likely. Okay, what does that mean?
I believe it's after this third one. Now it has to go to a subdivision, I believe. That's what happened on the south side with Jim Teed. One person wanted to add onto their property, so in order to do, then another one wanted, so they did that. What was it, the third edition, I believe? Is that right? And so then that's how they parceled it all off, but only like 3 maybe homeowners bought those lots that are south of their main housing lot. So that would be the same thing that would have to be done up there with Schneider, I believe, anyway.
If there are more questions, can I move that we, Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval of a survey for parcel J to the City Council?
Second by Olson.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Isaac, I think probably we need to do a roll call on these.
Who was the second? Heidi was the
And Olson was the second.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion is unanimously carried, and we'll now move to item C. F2, no.
It is F2.
It is F2? Okay. This is the work on the Whitetail Bluff. And we had this on the agenda last month, and we had pulled it off for some additional material. Why don't you give us a summary, Isaac?
Isaac, could you repeat the, on this middle section in there, that it is a 7.5 foot distant side yard setback, which is typical for R2, but these are R1s? So why the difference? So why the difference?
So that middle section would be R2, not R1, correct?
But it is currently coded as, or it's zoned as R2?
Okay. So this is a PUD. It's not a, yeah, okay. I've got a quick, when we first saw this and we talked about the closeness to the school, and that really to encourage, walking and biking rather than driving, that we were recommending a connection, a footpath of some sort that would go from, I'm assuming just south of Lot 4 back towards the school. And I don't see any indication of that here. But not out of the development. But not out of the development. Okay, but the drawings aren't showing it. But they've got sidewalks shown on some of the other drawings, and there is no sidewalk down to the school. And we thought, when we talked about it previously when this came in, I think the consensus was that that was important to include that connection. And if it's not shown on the drawings, it's not going to get built.
I have a similar question. When we talked about this, we also talked about the connection, a sidewalk connection between the two streets, so Deerfield Circle and Red Fox Trail along Adams Parkway. Because it's going to force pedestrian. That's fine. I mean, my concern about it was the pedestrian problem of people crossing then at both of those points on Adams Parkway, as opposed to trying to minimize that to some extent.
But again, I don't think that's showing up on the drawings.
I agree. I don't think it's there either. I don't see it on the drawings. The sidewalks are very clear when they're there.
Isaac, could we, if those things that we would like to see, the sidewalks, to keep this thing moving forward, could they make it subject to having those items taken care of before it goes to the city council? And if not, then it comes back to the planning and zoning. That's just my thought, to maybe to appease Mary and Kate, I think, were the two things they have concerns with, and in order to keep it going, and if they can't perform with that, then it has to come back. But in order to get it, that say maybe, I'm just throwing this out, that it could be move it forward, subject to getting those items taken care of. If not, then it has to come back. But that way, it would, if they're willing to get that done, then it can go on to city council. Just a thought for everybody.
I like that idea.
Yeah, I think we can do that. We recommend approval based upon the addition of those two sidewalks.
I think it's consistent also with what we're talking about now, and that's what's shown on the drawing is lot 36. It's a narrow north to south lot at the very bottom of the picture. At one point it was called Track A, and I'm curious as to how that might fit into our interest in having either the sidewalk. I believe that connects with 9th Avenue.
Yeah, Hank, originally when we first saw this project, they were talking about lot 36 being deeded to the school. But then when they changed developers and so forth, it was like news to him. But I don't know what else they could do with lot 36. Give it to the school, put a sidewalk in there, and make the connection.
At that point, would lot 36 then possibly become a street?
That make more sense.
Let's go back to the school sidewalk for a moment. Is it not logical to think that the school sidewalk would come off of the cul-de-sac up there at lot 4 and then go on a diagonal over to the school? Because otherwise there's almost no other easement to get through there. Or am I looking at it incorrectly?
Yeah, that's what I thought too, Hank, when I first looked at it. The only place you could do a connection without decreasing lot size is up between lot 3 and lot 4, where you've got that easement.
Is there an easement between lot 2 and 3 as well?
Look at page 13 of the actual drawings. It does show more detail of the sidewalks. If I'm reading them correctly.
That storm line between 2 and 3 is underground, correct? The storm line between 2 and 3, is that an underground pipe or is it just a swale? Okay, so you could put a sidewalk on top of it to get to the school. I mean,
Heidi, you mentioned a page number relevant.
Page 13 in the construction plans just shows that lot 1, 2, 24, 25. It shows those just in a little more detail and shows the sidewalk drawings.
It's sheet E.02 of E.04.
Thank you.
That one.
That one there, yeah.
Okay, where are we?
These are confusing. Look at the north arrows. It helps to look at the north arrows because the drawings are.
Yeah, there's 2 different orientations on the same sheet.
Now, what I was thinking is, do we need to identify these items that remain a concern of ours so that we can put a motion together that moves us forward conditional on certain things being addressed?
well, I think that
I'd like to have discretion though for the developer because he can't really continue the sidewalk that's on lot 1. It's going to have to be, unless that one would be required to have a side lot sidewalk because it would go into the property that's not theirs.
well, I think
It has to be somewhere else versus a continuation.
Yeah, there's 3 options in terms of connecting to the school. either on the easement between 2 and 3, between up around the cul-de-sac, or to go down lot 36. And I think that the contingency should be that there is a connection to the school property, and that the developer would have some options on which way he chose to make that connection.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It doesn't specify a given option, but it gives them the sense about where we're thinking.
Okay, you're getting a lot of feedback. If you keep your face closer to the microphone, you get less feedback. So stay forward.
Let's try it this way.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. What I'm saying is that we've identified very quickly here 3 possible options to create a sidewalk that would connect this development to the school. And without believing that those 3 are the only 3, but to indicate that there has to be some consideration given to a connection, a sidewalk connection between the development and the school. And that we could go ahead and recommend this forward to council, but with that caveat.
I think that's the way to go, as well as the sidewalk between the 2 entry points along Horton Road.
Adams Parkway.
Adams Parkway.
So looking at the detail sheet at the sidewalks at Adams Parkway, which would be sheet E.01, I guess I'm trying to imagine how that works for a pedestrian, and I can't get my head around it yet. It looks like the sidewalk just ends, and you would have to walk across grass and get onto the road, and then walk to the end of the road where it meets Adams Parkway. It just doesn't seem pedestrian friendly to me in terms of walking out of the subdivision onto Adams Parkway, because it looks like the drainage ditch is designed to go under the street, but the sidewalks don't deal with it at all.
There aren't any sidewalks on that side of Adams Parkway, are there?
No, there's not. You have to cross. You would have to walk out into the street and walk up to the edge of Adams Parkway and cross, rather than be at a sidewalk waiting for this traffic to go by and cross. You'd be standing in the roadway to cross based on what's in that drawing. And I mean, I guess I may be the only one who doesn't think that that's particularly pedestrian friendly. Doesn't seem like the sidewalk.
Can we pull up that
road to cross?
Can we pull up that drawing?
Yeah, right there. Zoom in. Can you zoom in?
No.
Right. So there's the culvert that's going to go under the road.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's going to drop water out because the water's going to come and go to the south for the most part. But here's the sidewalk. It just ends.
They'll need to extend that culvert so that they can go over the top of it.
Yeah, that's the only way that would work. Now,
No.
In many ways, taking care of the school sidewalk becomes increasingly important, because the only way out of this development on foot is to cross Adams Parkway on one of 2 roads, cross over to an existing sidewalk that goes in between the city electric company and the the Nestle plant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go out here and look at this, it is not friendly.
Honestly, the more we look at it, I really feel like I'm not inclined to approve this without seeing the sidewalk and pedestrian thing resolved, because I think it's bigger than we
On
think.
both sides, on both ends.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the thing is to be that close to a school and not being able for the kids to walk to that school is not good planning.
Or even on the other side, having to cross the Adams Parkway.
And Adams Parkway there is 35 miles an hour right now.
Yeah.
And that's when people are behaving.
So what's the best way to proceed with this?
I mean, I hate to hold the developer up. I don't feel comfortable. I'm not loving that, but I really feel like he did not address the pedestrian issues that we asked for when this first came across our desks.
I'm in agreement there. I think these were both items we talked to extensively, and they were kind of just left off the drawings.
And that was at the first gathering.
I did read the covenant though, and he did requires trees to be planted.
Yes, I saw that. I was very pleased to see what they've written in there about the keeping trees and planting new trees and stuff.
So I have a question. This is probably a naive one, but is that the equivalent of a restrictive covenant? Is that what they're laying out there, or is it different?
The CNAs, yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of rules, man.
Yeah. So is the best to table it or what?
Could I ask just one question? Wouldn't this be very similar to the crossing down at the pool across 4th Street? I think that's about 35 mile an hour there too. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Kate, but could they put those caution lights like they have there to cross 4th Street down there by the pool?
Well, there are
sidewalk crossing.
What's that?
You get to stay at a sidewalk there. In this case,
yeah, I know, but I mean, it has to have some kind of a crossing. But I mean, I think we can get across Adams. It's the same situation as there at the swimming pool too.
Sort of.
You know.
That is sort of, but I don't think any of us have ever thought that was an optimal crossing.
And the problem here is that the sidewalk just ends at the end of like lot 32, and then
where do you go?
You have to go across grass to get onto the Red Fox Trail, and then you cross Adams Parkway. So there's not even pavement to get you, from the sidewalk to across the street.
Well, in short, though, the issue we identified at the initial meeting has not been addressed.
Right, correct. Isaac, do we table it or do we recommend denial?
Yeah.
So it would be a delay of 1 month?
Because we don't meet again.
I'm not crazy about doing the denial because then council could, do the supermajority and approve it, and we still don't have the connection to the school or the, situation at Adams Parkway worked out.
But even if we do it contingent, does it Does it change anything?
I guess the more I think about it, the fact that these are issues we have been talking to them about since the beginning, and it's like they have not addressed it, that maybe we need to be a little stronger and say, hey, we've given you a chance to do this, and you haven't done it, so we're going to table it until you do it.
So a question, if we feel that it's important, does it matter if we do it on this side or should it be on the other side? Because this sidewalk doesn't continue the whole stretch. So would you, I mean, because the subdivision itself, you can't even walk the entire subdivision, right? There aren't
You can't do a loop.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
So there's no sidewalks going north to south between the entire subdivision. But what I'm looking at, if we're saying we want one of these two sidewalks, the bottom one is not a full stretch of sidewalk because of the property that's not owned for the development currently.
Agreed. I mean, I don't think that we have to design it for them. We just have to tell them what we expect.
Yeah. And right now they've got sidewalks that the ones that are coming out to Adams Parkway just end in grass. They don't connect. They don't go back to paved surfaces. They just end.
Right. So part of that is the design of that area. It's a deep ditch. It's not like other parts of town where it's pretty flat.
But they could fill it in and make a longer culvert, and the sidewalk could reach Adams Parkway where you could stand safely, see the traffic, and then cross,
Right.
rather than be in the lane of traffic.
Would any of you be willing to consider a special meeting of the commission, say 2 weeks from today? That would make it July 23rd. That would give the developer 2 weeks to come up with some solutions to this issue and hopefully not drag it out any longer than it has to be. Otherwise, our next meeting, I believe, is August the 6th.
I'm fine with that. No place to go.
With Zoom meetings, you can be anywhere.
I'm fine with that. I don't know if it sets any precedent moving forward, but
I think
I like that idea because it kind of offers an olive branch to the developer. We've identified issues. We're going to go ahead. We're going to meet you halfway and do this earlier so you can continue your project.
But also saying we're serious about these two issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking from a council perspective,
so. The two
I prefer that.
issues are the square side.
Tim's trying to say something, Hank. Can you go ahead, Tim?
I would say just from a council perspective, I would appreciate getting it clarified with the developer before it comes to council rather than with conditions or trying to do a supermajority. Just make that a little cleaner for us.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
And Tim, I think that's our responsibility to do that.
So what do you need, Hank?
What's the protocol? If we were to table this issue and identify the specific reasons for tabling it and offer a meeting on July 23rd of the commission, is that in summary what it is? We probably need to get prettier language than that, but
I believe that we just need to.
Well, I think if we just say something about I move the Planning and Zoning Commission table the review for the final plat for Whitetail Bluff subdivision for 2 weeks to allow the developer to address the issues of connection to the school and the sidewalk situation along Adams Parkway.
mm-hmm.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Before we vote on it, is there any?
We don't vote on
No, that's
it. I
true.
think it's just a motion.
To table.
I believe so. I believe that's how we've done it.
And I think that's the right way to do it. I want to make sure that there aren't any other issues out there, because we don't want to settle this and then come up with yes, but. Can you think of anything else? I don't think you even have to vote on a motion to table.
No, I think it's just a motion.
Okay, so we're going to table the issue for tonight. Let's schedule a meeting for July 23rd, one item on the agenda, and that would be to wrap up this business with the Whitetail Bluff project. Are we on the same page?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well then let's move ahead. The only other item on the agenda tonight, well, we have old business. Worry about that. And new business. And I think we pretty much agreed that we're going to come back to the issue that was raised with respect to trees and that after we get through this crisis. So with that, is there anything else for the good of the order? Isaac? Very good. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
A motion we adjourn.
And we are, oh, you do need a second, I found out. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor say yes,
Yes.
and we are adjourned. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.